introduce myself. Hi guys, my name is Rati Agnihotri and I'm a bilingual poet. I write poetry in English and Hindi. My English poems, I've got 2 volumes of English poetry out. My first volume of English poems, the Sunset Sonata, has been published by Sahitya Akademi, India's National Academy of Letters, the Sunset Sonata. And my second volume of English poems, I'd Like a Bit of the Moon, has been recently published by Red River, and today I'd like to read a couple of poems from I'd Like a Bit of the Moon. Now, before talking about my poetry and reading the poems, I'd like to thank Red River for publishing my poetry and, for letting me join the ranks of such an esteemed group of poets. And I'm nowhere in comparison to them, but I'm fortunate indeed to be published by Red River. And special thanks to Dibya Jyoti for literally teaching me how to edit my own poems. Now, talking about my poetry, I think it's very difficult to talk about my own poems. I'd rather let the poems do the talking. But just to say a bit, so my poems are essentially, the way I write poetry, the way poems work, in my case, is that I have an abstract concept, essentially, which is, these are recurrent concepts which are always going on in mind, what I think about the society, politics or culture, the way of things in, society, culture, politics. And these abstract concepts are, constantly getting rehashed in my mind. And these are some things which I'm constantly thinking about. For example, how the society is more mechanical or how it is more hypocritical, or how we are increasingly, getting absorbed in a world full of artificiality, no candor, no emotion, and everything is getting very much like plastic. So these abstract concepts are always running in my mind. And then what I do is that I essentially come up with stories, you can call them fables, which are full of fantasy, surrealism, a lot of imagery. And it is through these fables, imaginative fables, that I explore these concepts, my reflections on society and, the way things are. So you would rarely find me writing about a poem of mine which is directly connected to my personal life, or directly connected to socio-political issues, basically talking about an issue directly. I don't write like that. But whatever impressions I have, it's more like, then it becomes like more like a painting, I would say. Of course, though not as abstract as a painting, because a poem has to communicate at the end of the day. But it's still, a lot of impressions and a lot of things which I am going through in my mind, going through consciousness. I try to make sense of all these things, and I try to, communicate with the audience about the things that trouble me, and I try to say it in my own style, as I said, with imagery and surrealism. Hopefully, I am successful in communicating, not to a large extent, but to a certain extent. And yeah, I do think my poems need to be more communicative, and I'm still working on that element. But without much ado, let me start reading my poem. The first poem, I'd like to read the first poem of the collection, which is my favorite poem, A Raga of Love. A stone cutter chisels a piece of granite gently. Elsewhere, a pair of lovers in eternal embrace has almost turned to fossils. Language itself cannot capture this magic of love. Now I say this straightforwardly, but readers will read between the lines, trying to decipher what I precisely meant. The stonecutter has stories in his heart, and in his eyes, a tree of hope has taken root. The lovers in fossil have their beings tattooed in musical compositions. All they need is an echo chamber, a philosopher's mind, a heart, and an ethereal vision to create the perfect raga of love. Now, a raga of love is obviously, not about the way the world is, but my idealized version of a world, the way the world should be. So the next poem I'd like to read is Melancholy. So it's titled Melancholy. I'm sad when I look at the reflection of the moon on the water. It's like my life is slipping away like sand, while they're not even increasing my salary. Yes, me too. I'm sad when I see kids in tatters begging on streets. My heart goes out to them, but I'm grateful it's them and not me. What are you doing in the evening, by the way? Nothing, you say. Well, then let's just go to the lake and stare at the reflection of moon on water, along with some beer. What say? Perfect. The next I'd like to read a poem called The Underground Opens. No fairy tale meadows of rule-worthy perfections. No back-to-back sequences of knights in shining armor. No vanilla ice cream vistas of a chocolate cheese red wine flush-like wicked genteel life picture perfect. Rather, as the graveyard of life comes calling, stitch back the wounds, seal back the smiles, treat the almost lethal fears and paranoia in the stomach with an aspirin of a perfectly normal genteel life. Bury the soul deep into the earth, like age-old fossils. Clear the face of all toxicity, of all pent-up hysteria. Make yourself sanitized as much as you can, lest the underground opens. The next poem I'm going to read is called In Love. The water reflects not just the lovers and the caresses, but also the sonorous dilemma of their precise positioning in the world. When lovers walk by the lakeside hand in hand, they do not carry a dictionary, nor do they excel in the glorious tradition of the argumentative Indian. Their weapons are their bodies and faces. But when they do walk by the lakeside, hand in hand, the water does reflect the dictionary of love they're writing. The same dictionary lovers across the world are writing at that precise moment. Then this is a very different kind of a poem which I'm going to read. It's called New Zealand. Served hot on a plate, spicy, boastful, enigmatic, delicacies right from the epicenter of all that is wrong with the nation. News or pakoras, I'm confused. Blood, sweat, poverty, pollution, raw material for the preparation of a spicy main course dish. Oh, please do come to our New Zealand and savor all that is on offer. Government policies for sale, public anger for sale, public apathy for sale, and it's okay if you feel like vomiting. The New Zealand has an endless menu. So now the last poem I'm going to read is the title poem of the collection, I'd Like a Bit of the Moon. Here we go. I'd like a bit of the moon in my wardrobe, just to even out things a bit. No high decibel moonlit romance drama, no loopy caricatures of moon-infested nights. No wasted soliloquies of a clever but stupid half-moon. No bellicose declarations of a hawkish moon warrior. No painted seas with the moon showing halfway through. No parasite words throwing up an idyllic moonworm every single second. No pain and memory masked in the grandiose language of the moon. No dances sponsored under the moonlight. All I'd like is a bit of the moon in my wardrobe. A simple, pleasing geometrical shape that gets into my clothes and then into me like a snake, dancing right through my heart. My own rhythm, my own systems of meanings, no grandiose interpretations.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the Brown Critic channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Gayatri, coming to you from Sikkim. Do watch all our other videos. We have some wonderful stuff. And subscribe to our channel, of course. So, do take care of yourselves. And till the next time, bye for now.